morning. This is cause number 2016-51850 in the interest of Nikki and Damon Cantu. All parties, please raise your right hands to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the children.
Yahaira Medina, and I'm the mother.
All right, sir, your name and your relationship to the children.
Jason Cantu, and I'm the father.
Okay, and for the state of Texas?
Angela Jeffries for the Office of the Attorney General, Your Honor.
Representative Mr. Cantu, identify yourself, please.
Elazar Maldonado Jr., Your Honor, for Mr. Cantu.
All right, and we have another party. Is this another party that's in this case?
Mr. Ramadan was subpoenaed by my office. He's the process server in the case, Your Honor.
Okay. We've got a motion to set aside the default judgment. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that is filed by you, sir. Please go ahead and proceed.
This time, Your Honor, I'd like to call Mr. Ramadan.
Raise your right hand to be sworn, Mr. Ramadan.
Yeah, I swear in the front of the God that I'll say the truth.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Maldonado.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Ramadan, could you please state your name for the record?
Mousa Ramadan, M-O-U-S-A, and Ramadan, R-A-M-A-D-A-N.
Now, sir, who are you employed with?
Easy Messenger.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Easy Messenger, A-Z, a messenger.
Yes, sir, thank you. Now, on February 11th, did you receive a citation and a suit for modification to serve on Mr. Cantu?
Yeah, from the company. I received the documents to serve the address 606.
Now, sir, that was about 4 months ago. Is that right?
Yeah, about 4 months ago, more a little bit.
Now, before your testimony today, did you review any documentation?
Before what? I'm sorry?
Before today, did you review any notes or any documentation in preparation of your testimony today?
No, but I asked the company to send me the attempts and the documents that I had with them, and I looked at it.
Now, is it true that you serve about 100 documents per week?
Yes.
Now, on March 1st, you state in your return of service that you served Mr. Cantu?
Yes, that's what I read in the attempts. But before March 1st, I also did 2 attempts before that. And one of them I confirmed with the resident that he lives in this address. And I usually, every attempt I go to any house, I leave a note. So I just want to ask the subject if he called me back after leaving 2 notes. And one of them was with the resident.
Your Honor, objection as to non-responsive after yes.
Done.
Mr. Ramadan, in your return of service, you don't indicate any other prior attempts that you made to Mr. Jason Cantu, right?
I'm sorry then.
In your return of service, you don't say that you've made other attempts before the March 1st, correct?
I did 2 attempts before March 1st.
Now, Mr. Ramadan, if Mr. Cantu was at work on March 1st at 2:16 in the afternoon, he wouldn't have been at 606 Grand Oaks, correct?
Yeah.
And isn't it true that as you sit here today, you really don't remember what happened on March 1st?
Not really. I'm sorry. Like, I tried to remember. I looked at the house picture. I tried to find I usually leave a note at the attempts I do, but I couldn't find it. on my saving documents, like the notes on my saving notes. But I tried to look at the attempts to remember what happened, but to be honest, I don't really remember what happened.
So it's fair to say that you maybe could have accidentally served somebody else?
No, not somebody else. Like
Pass the
I
witness, Your
never
Honor.
dropped
Objection
a doc.
non-responsive, Your Honor.
Sorry? The
Objection
objection?
non-responsive, Your Honor.
Oh, he said
I'm
no.
sorry, Your Honor. He said no, right.
That's what I,
After no.
all right, stand.
Your Honor, I'd like this court to take judicial notice of the return of service that was filed on Mr. Ramadan on March 5th of this year.
Okay, that's March 1st.
I'm sorry, March 5th, Your Honor.
The return of service?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see, when was it filed? It was filed March 5th, 2021, indicating he was served on March 1st, 2021.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Jeffries, you have any questions for Mr.
Yes,
Ramadan?
thank you. I do. Mr. Ramadan, how long have you been employed as a process server, sir?
2 years and something.
Okay. And you testified that you serve about 100 cases a week. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any way for you to recall every single case that you do process service on?
What do you mean with recall every case?
Do you remember every detail on every case that you've submitted?
No. I leave a note at the first page that the company told me if the defendant coming from different numbers, if I called his number in the document, or if I do the damn. So I talk to at the door. If I locked vehicles, I write them down. I write this on the first page that I saved for like 3-4 months. But when I looked for his case, it was too old, and I think I throw it away because every 3 months to 4 months, I just like updated my files because they get like so full.
Okay. Now you wrote on your return of service, Your Honor, because Mr. Maldonado asked that you take judicial notice. You wrote comments that I'm assuming Mr. Cantu said he started asking me about the documents, and then when he knows, he told me that they already canceled this case and he refused to get the documents. And so when you write those notes, that's what you write to remind yourself of what happened during the service. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so if a person refuses to get the documents, you still deem that as you served them, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah,
Speculation.
that means I
Hold on,
dropped it.
hold on, sir. Hold on, Mr. Ramadan. Repeat your objection, please.
Improper speculation, Your Honor.
Overruled. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Ramadan, you can answer the question.
Yeah,
Mr.
the
Mr.
question.
Ramadan, did you hear the question?
Yeah. When I say that on my attempts, that mean I dropped the documents of refusing of the defendant.
Okay.
And like I'm trying to remember, but like I just want to ask him to just maybe remind me what happened.
Objection, not responsive. Mr. Ramadan, I have to ask you the question. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And you mentioned other attempts. Do you ever write your other attempts on your return of service form?
All the attempts before for the one I served. Yeah, I write them. Yeah.
Okay. And so the last thing that I have for you is, to your knowledge, you tried to at least deliver to Mr. Maldonado at 606 Grand Oaks Drive, Houston, Texas. Is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. I think she referenced my lane to service. I think she meant Mr. Cantu, not Mr. Maldonado.
I'm sorry. Mr. Ramadan, you will testify. It's your testimony that you served Mr. Cantu at 606 Grand Oaks Drive. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah.
I have nothing further for this witness, Your Honor. I pass the witness.
Ms. Medina, do you have any questions of Mr. Ramadan?
No.
All right, Mr. Maldonado.
Just a couple more questions, Your Honor. Mr. Ramadan, you just testified with Ms. Jeffries that you do write down your other attempts when you serve somebody, correct? Is that correct?
I'm sorry, it's cutting off. I didn't hear you well.
You just testified with Ms. Jeffries that you do on your return of service, write down when you've met the person you're trying to serve, correct?
Yeah, I leave a note. Yeah,
Yeah.
that I serve this person.
Yeah, but in this case, you said that you attempted about 2 other times to serve Mr. Cantu, correct?
Yeah, I did 2 attempts at the house 2 times before, and I leave a note usually when I do my attempts. So I just want to ask if he can remind me if he called me.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive after yes.
Sustained.
But what I'm trying to get at, Mr. Ramadan, is on your return of service, you don't list those other attempts that you said you normally do, correct?
I don't understand what they mean, but like every attempt I do, I leave a note on my first page that they have the information about the subjects. And when I looked at my attempts, I read that I already served
Objection, Your
them
Honor,
on the,
non-responsive.
I'm sorry?
Non-responsive, Your Honor.
Sustained. Listen,
Pass the witness. No further questions of the witness, Your Honor.
all right. Ms.
I'm
Jeffries?
sorry. My issue is I believe I want to recall Mr. Ramadan. Mr. Ramadan, just
Well,
as far as this,
all right. He's still on cross-examination if you like. Go ahead.
okay. So Mr. Ramadan, on service attempts, do you make notes on your own personal notes or do you make notes on your actual return of service? So that's the question. Do you make, when you do multiple attempts, do you make those in your personal notes? Yes or
Yeah,
no?
my personal notes. Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever put those attempts on your actual return of service though, as well?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's standard practice that you don't put the additional attempts on your return of service. Is that correct? Just for clarification?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Medina, any questions for Mr. Ramadan?
No.
All right. Mr. Maldonado?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to call my client, Mr. Jason Cantu.
All right.
Sir, can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Jason Cantu,
Now, sir, what is your current address?
606 Grand Oaks Drive.
Sir, did you hear the testimony from Mr. Ramadan?
Yes, I did.
When is the first time you have seen Mr. Ramadan?
Just now on the screen.
Have you met him before today?
Have I met? No.
Now, did you receive a citation to modify the prior order in this case?
No.
Did you receive the suit for modification of a child support order?
No.
Now, sir, on March 1st, 2021, where did you live?
606 Grand Oaks Drive.
Now, sir, when it comes to that date, where were you at 2:16 in the afternoon on March 1st?
I was at work
And how do you know that?
because the timesheet confirms it.
Now, where were you? What city were you on that date on March 1st, 2:16 in the afternoon?
Seabrook, Texas.
You remember what you were doing?
Working.
What do you do for work?
I'm an equipment operator.
Is there any possible way you were at home on that day?
No, not at all. I was not at home. I was at work.
Now, had you received the citation with the modification request, what would you have done?
If I would have received it, I would have participated.
Now, have you taken a look at the return of service filed by Mr. Ramadan?
Yeah.
How much do you weigh right now?
I weigh 225 pounds.
Now, on March 1st, about how much did you weigh?
Probably the same. 225.
Now, how tall are you?
5'8".
Are you 5'6"?
No,
Were you 5'6" on March 1st?
no,
Now, in terms of anything you received in the mail, did you receive a letter or a certified mail from the Attorney General's office?
no,
Did you receive an order regarding your appearance in front of this honorable court on May 20 or for May 27, 2021?
no.
Had you received notice of that court date, what would you have done?
Participated.
Now, in terms of the prior order that was entered in this case on June 1st, have you taken a look at that order that was rendered against you?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
The order that was entered on June 1st of this year, the default order against you, have you taken a look at that order?
A little bit.
Now, what are your issues in terms of that order?
One of the issues is the wages they said I was making.
Now, do you make those wages?
No, far from it.
What are you asking this court to do in terms of the prior order?
I'm asking the court to, if they could move this, remove this order and set up a new trial.
What do you believe would happen in terms of child support if there is a new trial?
I believe I will be paying less for one.
Now, how long do you think you would need for a trial in this case if this honorable court does set aside the order?
Couple of months maybe?
Now, at this time, Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Ms. Jeffries?
Thank you. Mr. Cantu, where are you currently employed, sir?
I'm sorry?
Where are you currently employed, sir?
Am I currently employed? No.
Where?
Okay. Where were you employed on March 1st of 2020?
Where was I employed?
Yes, sir, on March 1st.
Standard Constructors.
Okay. And at Standard Construction, what was your, what were the hours that you would typically work?
From 7 to 5:30.
Okay. And you're saying on March 1st of 2021, you were working at that job, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you said that your current address is the 606 address. Is that correct, sir?
Correct.
All right. And 606 Grand Oaks Drive is a house. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And you're saying you never received any type of paperwork from the Office of the Attorney General regarding any issue regarding child support?
Nothing.
All right. Your Honor, at this time, I would ask that you take judicial notice. There's a docket entry from 527. It shows that this court took notice that there was certified mail return receipt requested sent to that same exact address. And it shows that it was delivered to that address.
Court will take note of that.
Thank you. Now, did you speak with Ms. Medina about your child support case at all, or that the fact that there was a pending case?
I think there was. Well, she was the one that was telling me, and I was like, whatever.
Okay, so she did tell you.
Huh?
Let me ask the question. Hold on. Let me re-ask you the question. Did she ever mention to you that there was a pending court date for child support with her?
No.
Okay, so you guys never prior to the court date on May 27 discussed child support issue?
No.
Okay. And you're saying that you never seen Mr. Ramadan before?
Never.
Okay. And you also mentioned the court were to approve this motion for new trial that you believe your child support would be less. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And you're currently not working at this time?
No, ma'am, I'm not working.
Okay. And when did you lose your job at this construction place or construction job?
Well, I left the job because they weren't giving us no hours. We weren't working at all. I work in construction, and when it rains, you don't work.
Objection, Your Honor, not responsive. When did you lose your job, Mr. Cantu?
I don't remember what day.
You remember what month, sir?
I'm sorry.
You remember what month?
May, I think.
Okay, yeah. And have you ever contacted the Office of Attorney General regarding your case at all? Have you ever called or emailed?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Overruled.
I don't think so.
Okay. I have nothing further for this. I have nothing further for this witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Medina, do you have any questions of Mr. Maldonado?
Mr. Cantu, I believe, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
I think you referred to myself as a.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cantu. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the screen. Okay.
Apologies,
All
Your
right. Do you
Honor.
have any questions of Mr. Cantu?
Yes, I do.
All right. Go ahead.
Jason, do you not remember me almost a week or 2 weeks prior to the court date that you asked me for the kids? And I told you that till we went to court and settled all this matter because of the issue of you back and forth not wanting to give me back the kids, that I said I'd rather just wait till we go to court and see if we can get something settled with this.
Well, me not receiving any documentation, I thought you were basically,
Sir, the question is, do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, I remember that conversation.
Okay.
Okay, another question. Do you remember that I had changed, that I forwarded, when we moved to 606 Grand Oaks Drive, do you not remember that I had forwarded all my mail to the new house when we moved in?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, well, in the process of that, I do get copies in my email every single time of every mail that goes to that location. And to my full knowledge, in my emails, there is proof in my email that you have received by mail documents of the Attorney General.
The objection, Your Honor, is I don't think there was a question in that.
All right. Well, yeah. What is the question, Ms. Medina?
Well, the question is that I want that if he remembers, if he's aware that I do get confirmation emails of all the mail that gets sent to him.
Objection, Your Honor, speculation as to her mail system and how that's set up. My client wouldn't even know about that.
Overruled. Are you aware, Mr. Maldonado? Mr. Cantu?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay, another question. Does your spouse not tell you that me and her, we do come in conversation?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance and cause for, or relevance, Your Honor.
I'm sorry. What was the objection?
Relevance, Your Honor, as to the question regarding his spouse's conversations.
I'm assuming you're going to tie it in somewhere, Ms. Medina?
Yes, I am.
Overruled.
The reason I'm asking is because she was
No. You don't ask the question again, please.
Okay. Jason, are you not aware that I speak to your spouse?
No.
Okay. So another question.
I'm not married. I don't have a spouse.
Well, she lives with you. I
No,
think.
she doesn't.
Okay.
This is not Judge Judy. There's a question and an answer. That's all. You have another question, Ms. Medina?
So you were not aware of the child support court date?
No, I wasn't.
Because did you not receive an email of the court date by the Texas Attorney General?
No.
Okay. That's all.
All right. Mr. Maldonado.
No further questions from Mr.
By the way, can we excuse Mr. Ramadan, or are we going to need him?
No, Your Honor, apologies. I don't have any more questions for Mr. Ramadan.
You can be excused, Your Honor, on my side.
All right. That all right with you, Miss Medina?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Ramadan, you're excused. You can log out now.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Mr. Maldonado, you. Oh, where are we?
I think Ms. Jeffers.
Ms. Jeffers, do you have any other witnesses?
I would actually like to call Miss Medina.
All right, go ahead.
Since they called Yahira Medina, Miss Medina, you have a child support, or I'm sorry, have you spoken with Mr. Cantu about the child support case in the past, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge, before May 27th, did he mention to you that he knew about the child support case?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Did he contact you at any point prior to March 27th about the hearing that was going to happen on March 27th?
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
Overruled. You can answer that. You can answer that question, Ms. Medina.
Yes, he did, and physically, face to face.
Okay. When you say he contacted you, how did he contact you?
By phone and also face to face. He went to my job.
Okay. And on the phone conversation, what did he say to you about the child support hearing?
He tells me not to pursue with it.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did he understand it on May 27th of 2021?
Yes.
Okay. And you also said that he showed up to your job physically. He showed up to your job physically. What did he say to you?
That for me not to pursue with the child support, that he will help me, but I still went to the court date because till today, over a year, he still has not attempted to give me any type of source of income for my children.
Okay. And you understand today, if the court would grant the motion to set aside, you will have to wait the 90 days or more for your child support to start back up. Do you understand that?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay. And you mentioned your email system. The email system with the mail, is that an email system with the mail that comes to the 606 address?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so you have, with that email system, you can personally see what mail goes to that address every day. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's not just your mail, it's also Mr. Cantu's mail that you can see. Is that correct?
Yes, everyone in that household.
Okay, and so did you ever see a letter from the Office of the Attorney General addressed to Mr. Cantu regarding child support?
Yes, I saw multiple letters. They were the same letters that I received as well in my email for my show up court dates and through mail as well.
Okay. I have nothing further for this witness, Your Honor. I pass the witness.
Mr. Maldonado?
Yes, briefly, Your Honor. Ma'am, you don't have any of those letters or screenshots showing any confirmations of letters that you're talking about?
Yes, I do have.
Do you have them in front of you right now?
I have my phone.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Just a brief closing from my end.
Well, Ms. Jeffers, do you have any other witnesses?
I have no other witness, Your Honor.
Or any other questions of Ms. Medina?
No.
All right, Mr. Maldonado, you have a closing argument?
Yeah, just a brief closing, Your Honor. Your Honor, in this case, my client cannot intentionally fail to appear on a court date of May 27, 2021, when he didn't receive proper notice. The law does not give does not provide that there is a presumption that the return of service is accurately done. So there's no presumption that we should take it on truth that is what in fact actually happened. You heard from Mr. Ramadan himself in terms of what he remembers, that he serves about 100 documents a week, and he doesn't really remember what happened. As to his own return of service, and from the testimony from Mr. Cantu, he is not 200 pounds, he is not 5'6", he did not shrink 2 inches from March 1st till today, Your Honor. In terms of what Mr. Cantu has to prove to today, if there was no proper service on it, then that means that there was no conscience indifference for him not to appear at a trial date and have a hearing on child support and other matters. in terms of what would happen on a new trial, you heard from Mr. Cantu himself that there would be a difference when there is a new trial in this case, because you heard testimony from Mr. Cantu that he makes substantially less in the amount of figures what's on the prior order. And Mr. Cantu doesn't even have to even say that, Your Honor. But again, that is the minimum amount that he can say in order for this court to grant a new trial. And again, you also heard from Mr. Cantu that in terms of a new trial, he is ready to proceed a trial at least a couple of months so that we can have the correct figures in terms of child support and the medical support order that was ordered in this case. Again, Mr. Cantu cannot be in two places at once. Had Mr. Cantu received proper notice from Mr. Ramadan and the Attorney General's office, he would have taken care of this case at that time. At this time, Your Honor, we ask that this court set aside the prior order and order a new trial in a couple of months, 60 days at the very minimum, in order to do some discovery and to figure out the correct findings of Mr. Cantu's income in this matter, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Jeffers.
Yes, Your Honor. I would just say that the process server actually testified that to his knowledge, he did serve Mr. Maldonado, Mr. Kent at his address on file. Mr. Cantu also verified that he still lives at the 606 address where the process server said that he was served. And so lack of memory when you're serving 100 cases a week, to me, does not mean that service was not properly executed. Also, this court took judicial notice that certified mail return receipt requested of the hearing date was also sent to Mr. Cantu at the address that he verified on file, which he did not show up on that date. Also, Ms. Medina has testified that to her knowledge, Mr. Cantu knew the date and he chose not to show up. So I think the counsel's argument that lack of service is an issue here, I think that that's a stretch because process server says that to his knowledge, he did serve him. It was just that Mr. Cantu, based on his notes on that affidavit, refused to take the papers. In this instance, I think that the court should not grant the motion to set aside. Ms. Medina will go 60 days or more without child support if this case is granted for the motion to set aside. And as far as Mr. Cantu's income being substantially different, although I know that that will mean a different outcome in the case, if he had participated when he was given notice of the setting, then we could have properly calculated what that amount would be. And so I, Your Honor, think that the motion to set aside should not be granted.
Ms. Medina, do you have anything further to say?
I feel that the child support case that went on May 27 should stay going, pursued with it. He has, like I said, he has not even till today attempted to even send $1, regardless whether he makes $1,600 a month or not, $100 a month, to even show that he's trying.
All right. The court, on the motion to set aside the default judgment, the court denies that motion. Thank you.
Yeah. Attorney Cantu, will you submit your order?
Well, I'll file a new order for today.